Are we ready? Call tonight's meeting to order. Please stand and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Right, it's been moved by Councilmember Bernard, second by Councilmember Allen to approve tonight's agenda as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Okay, moving on to consent agenda, and we have one water sewer termination extension request.
Madam Mayor, I move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
It's been moved by Council President Hanson, second by Councilmember Allen to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those approve, all those. Motion passed. Lost my train of thought. Okay, public comment. So we've got Levi and Katie here for the Ellsworth County Farm Bureau project.
Good evening, my name is Katie Ryan, I work for the Kansas Farm Bureau and I am the Ellsworth County Farm Bureau coordinator. This is Levi Homer.
Yep, Del Levi, Omar County President from the Public County Farm Bureau.
At this time, we are asking the city council to reconsider its ban on chickens within the city limits. The Ellsworth County Farm Bureau has started a new project and we would love to offer the opportunity to families within city limits as well. The Ellsworth County Broiler Chicken Project consists of raising chickens from start to finish over an 8-week time period.
The chicks are set to arrive around May 21st. The chicks will need a half square foot per chick to start off with. They'll be in a broiler, they'll probably be inside, or should be inside rather, cause they'll need 100-degree climate for the first 3 to 7 days. So for the first week or so, should be inside anyway. After 4 weeks, the chicks will need 3 to 4 square foot per bird. And the birds will be shown at the Ellsworth County Fair in an open class. And then afterwards, where you're going to work at getting the birds processed and the families getting retain the meat for an ending hunger project we're working on.
So what we're looking at is we're sponsoring 20 families, 7 birds a family. And the Farm Bureau is paying for the birds, and we're also paying for the processing of the birds. And then the Ellsworth Co-op has donated the first bag of food. So while it's well known that Ellsworth has roots that run deep in agriculture, and Ellsworth is known for its rich history as a cow town as the cattle trails, it is imperative that we do not let Ellsworth lose its connection to agriculture. Let's be proactive in keeping those connections. In a time when people are getting further removed from their agriculture roots, this project allows the families involved an experience to learn how to grow and take care of the chickens, while also providing food for their families. This project will allow families time to connect and learn together through hands-on learning. The chicks have already been ordered, and we are looking forward to seeing this project grow. We would love for the city to grow with the project by allowing people in the city limits to participate. We would like to thank you for considering the lift on the poultry ban within city limits.
Can you explain how this is different than what we talked about last?
Of course, last year, the city council reviewed a ordinance that was not passed to allow. At that time, there was more push towards layers. But it was, I did load it up, I believe it was 5 birds, very five, no roosters. And it didn't anticipate any harvesting, something like that. This is a little different, 7 and be harvested in 8 weeks. We'd have to rewrite a new ordinance to present the next meeting, perhaps we can work the timetable there. You know, of course, the concern is if you do that, and of course, you know, we talked about chickens last summer, there were cities in Kansas that allowed them, and now just like the push where everybody kind of stopped allowing them, and the cities are not allowing them. And I know one county, there's actually an issue right now because there's one county that I'm very familiar with, that there's a lot of subdivisions in the county that are not in the city. And they're coming to the county commission complaining about their neighbors having chickens, so. But they're not cities, so we don't worry about those. We have cities here. It's only up to the city council. Like I said, we had an ordinance last summer that it failed. You know, so right now we don't allow any chickens at all. And I always tell councils, you have to follow your rules. But you have the right to change the rules. But if you do so, you have to change by ordinance. You know, that's the way we do business as cities. And that way there's quick comments available and everything else. So right now it's not allowed. If you want me to bring it on the agenda next time, I can do some research and bring everything back again. It's totally up to you.
Was anybody changed their minds on chickens since last time? 'Cause I said we ought to try it.
You only had 3 people here. You have 3 new people too.
Yeah, so I mean,
I guess I wanna know, this is all on certain time space, and after these chickens grow up, is that the end of the program? Or is this just gonna keep,
How would you write your ordinance? That's up to you. I mean, that, you know. I can write the ordinance what you want to written, I mean, and we can pass this, if you want to pass one. The question, of course, would be is, you know, if you do this, well, you have to now do this, you know, and we have to do this, you know.
well, this thing's all bundled. So they're getting free birds,
Right.
free food, and free cleaning up of the birds.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and so if that goes through, then is that gonna continue?
That's up to you guys to decide. You know, the other issue, of course, is one that came last year, and of course, cities don't enforce it. Restrictive covenants that certain subdivisions in town have. But we have a few subdivisions that do not allow chickens. And the ordinance, as we wrote it last summer, we changed. I wrote last summer, it was not passed, said if your subdivision has a restriction, you can't have it. And what and I talked to our city mate about, it, what I wanted to avoid is 2 neighbors going, let's say, and they go and. For argument's sake, he gets chickens and I don't, and I don't like his chickens. And he said, well, city said I could. I said, but your covenant says you can't. What are you gonna do, sue me? Well, that's all I could do. And again, I just didn't want to put the city in that spot and 4 people in that spot. That's why that ordinance was written and didn't pass. But it says if you have covenants in your subdivision, you know, you can't have chickens anyhow, or not, you know, use those.
well, how many, do you have any idea on how many people from town would maybe sign up for it? Or have you
I
had?
can speak from experience, I am a homeschool mom and I do the homeschool collector in Ellsworth, and I can speak of 3 families who have told me multiple times that they would love to sign up, but they're restricted.
Yeah.
And that's just 3 families. We are offering a program countywide, so there will also be outside people, but I do know that there would be definitely some benefit from people in cities.
Yeah, okay, well, maybe we could do like a trial run here and see how it goes. I mean, there might only be 3 or 4 people in town that get to do it and then see, I don't know, I mean, this would be our best way of giving it a shot, maybe.
Well, this would only be for, I mean,
For, I say, time frame,
another reason, I would write an ordinance that sunsets on such a day.
Can I add one more? The chickens, they're not all males, so typically on the feeder side, the eggs are not, they're not sexed. So it could be that you end up with all females and don't have an issue with roosters, but there's no guarantee on what sex the chicks will be eating the
But
game.
these are all set to be harvested, right?
Yep, they're all set to be harvested. It's an
And the
8
females.
weeks, 8 weeks from the time the chicks come to the time they're harvested.
And what you told me the breed was one where you probably want to keep, you wouldn't want to keep pullets anyhow.
No, it is specifically raised as a meat bird.
Right.
So they're trying to get them between 8 and 10 pounds in that 8-week period.
I see.
Yep.
So they aren't gonna be permanent party, they're just gonna be here long enough to get.
If, if we change the ordinance.
The whole purpose of this is to help us end hunger, like it's a hunger awareness program, so we're trying to help people be able to sustain and raise their own food.
So have you guys done this before? Is this like a brand new?
It's a
thing?
brand new program.
Is it possible to keep this separate from the ordinance that we passed, that we would not have chickens in the city?
You have to write a different ordinance. I mean, in my mind, a chicken's a chicken is a chicken.
Yeah,
So if you want to allow any kind of chicken to be violated, you need to change the ordinance. And again, I can bring you one next meeting. to look at, if you want me to go through the work and do it, I mean, whatever, you know.
Well, we need to just, I mean, are we, before, you know, entertain it, I mean, if not, then there's no point in wasting your time. It's gonna get voted, you know.
But you could write an ordinance that says that we can do this, like, if your chickens through this program, this one time, see how. it
I could
goes.
do a sunset, the ordinance sunsets on this date.
Right.
But you also have to, of course, you have a, we're gonna have the cost of publishing an ordinance and all those costs too.
Yeah.
Just understand all that, I mean, you know,
And then you're gonna have people coming in here going, well, I didn't get on the list, but I want chickens, you know?
Yeah, well, this
That's good.
laying chickens and the ones that are gonna get 8 in 8 weeks is two different stories.
Exactly, yeah.
you know, we had setback issues, a few on that one there, on the phone group last summer. Uh,
As far as the chicken, outside chicken facilities.
Well, yeah, I mean, we had that, yeah, we had some,
But that would be something that would just, I mean, if their yard or whatever is not, if it doesn't work, I mean, they can't have them, but I mean.
yeah.
I don't know, I mean, I'm just,
You want me to write?
I wanted to try it
Why
last
not?
time.
What's the timeline for like writing the ordinance and getting it,
Well, if
getting
we-
it
If
published?
we put it on the. The next meeting is on what, May?
May 11th.
The ordinance wouldn't go in place till May 21st. Because they have to publish one time in the official paper. This needed to come a couple weeks, it'd been like 2 months ago. When did the birds come?
May 21st.
Yeah, the ordinance would not be in place, so it's because an ordinance is not an ordinance until it's published one time in the official city newspaper.
But it wouldn't even make it. I mean.
Well, it'd be the 11th, no, 14th meeting, 11th meeting, so. What's this? Yeah, I wonder about the 21st of May, the ordinance would be active then,
So,
if we pass it.
so is that a game changer that the time factor doesn't allow us to?
It's gonna be tough. I mean, it one out, because, all ordinances do not take effect until published one time. I mean, that's state law,
And that's all assuming that the 5 of you
It
pass
has.
it.
Yeah. Or 3 of the 5.
Yeah.
Again, my only thought process on it is there was distinct rationales for not having the chickens in the community. If we in fact do this, that we keep that separate from, I understand a chicken is a chicken is a chicken. However, I don't think it has to overlap. I mean, I'm supportive of the program, but I'm also respectful of the ordinance and the processes we went through to say, we're not going to do it. So I see this,
I see where you want me to hit, and
I see there as separate.
I mean, I don't think you can make them separate.
but I still have the subdivision problems
Right,
that have covenants.
Well, that'll be on them.
yeah.
If their covenant says they can't have a chicken, then, yeah, they can't have them.
And I know that subdivision over there, they've been, of course, for,
Yeah.
that built this. Tell me what you want to do, and I can put something together, if not, I'm fine. either way.
I'd like to see, give it a try, that's just me, though, I'm on both.
Anybody else?
I don't have a problem with this program. I'm definitely against the chickens
Yeah.
overall with laying chickens and
Yeah.
having to deal with that and the chief having to enforce chicken laws and.
Yeah.
I mean, I am for the program. I mean, I don't know if you can write an ordinance that supports the
Write an
program.
ordinance any way you want to, I mean. I write an ordinance that ends on such a date, and says you can do this and this, and that's it, not, you can do that. But the question is, are you opening yourself to other issues then?
Yeah, and I was,
Probably.
I would assume that, the ordinance gets drafted, it's probably gonna come by my desk at some point, so I can take a look at it, so. Just from, it's more ideas out there. Most of the ordinance have some kind of, most of the animal ordinances that we deal with have some kind of, short-term exception. When we have the rodeo, we allow more animals in than we typically would. There are goats that go to the school, we have ag days where animals can come in on a temporary basis. Now,
County fairs are exempt.
yeah, so there are a lot of animal regulations or restrictions that can be temporarily removed or rescinded or to give an opportunity for educational purposes or for a specific purpose as opposed to just simply saying for 8 weeks, we're gonna allow everyone to have chickens, but then they have slaughter at 8 weeks because enforcing that, could be very difficult, as you said. So I guess that's my thought on it. If that's one direction that the city wanted to go, is essentially treat this as a sponsored educational program and say, for the purposes of this program, and maybe people will come in and say, well, there's other programs similar to it, and you just have to review it on a case-by-case basis. But I think maybe framing it that way might, if that's what the council's wanting to do, but it's all predicated on what you guys want to do. But that might be one way you could work into it. I was just thinking, again, like the temporary allowances that there are for, again, educational or for, I don't want to say recreational, but business purposes like the rodeo or something
The
like
county
that.
fair, of course, allows them. If we had a livestock marketing places town, you would allow them. If they had bird sale there, you can have them. If you had a vet clinic in town, same thing, we would have one in town. So,
I think unless you want to open it up to more, more people or more individuals who are looking to have chickens, you may want to keep it tailored fairly.
tell your desires, all.
Can't we restrict that for just people that sign up for this program? Can we put that in the ordinance or else?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, when it comes to,
But then how do you police that too? It's I think my concern. So
So
if
Farm Bureau authorized program, yeah, I mean, it's gonna be tough place, I'm not gonna argue that.
And do you guys make sure that the people that sign up have the appropriate housing for the chickens? I mean, is that something that you guys have to be monitored to make sure that they have the space and according to what this says?
We are gonna give them the guidelines and it is up to them to follow to the best of their abilities.
So are there gonna be any follow-up with these people?
There is, we're giving awards for the top birds, and clearly, I mean, they get food at the end of the day, so that's our goal, is to help feed them, and so it's our goal for them to get an end product that they can consume.
you're gonna gather all, so there's
Yeah.
really no chance that the birds go unaccounted for.
No.
I mean,
No.
at some point.
From
someone's
the
gonna go
fair,
and
they
give
will
them
be
it.
going to get processed.
Okay.
So they're bringing them to the fair, the fair board has allowed for, and honestly, it's a big deal, this is the first open class livestock show that is open class livestock, the fair board has approved for the open class chicken show. For one day, the chickens will be there on display, and these kids could say, hey, this is my project, I raised it, it could give the town kids a really cool experience. So that's our check-in, we're going to the fair, and we're also giving a tough luck award, I mean, we realize things happen. So if there's somebody who had a tough luck hit award and they still had their one chicken that was there, I mean, they're gonna get an award.
You want me to draft something? That's
Yeah. I think I'd like to, I mean, I know there's more people know the layers, it's just a way for the town to kind of get a feel of how this is gonna go. And we could go from there.
Yeah.
Okay,
But like I said, you will not have an ordinance in place until, what was the date, maybe?
21st of May is when chicken will be here, it'll be close, yeah.
It'd be that day, it'd be the last day.
If we're a day or two behind, are you guys able to hold on to the chickens for a day or two?
I can call the hatchery and see if they can ship them a little bit later.
Thank you.
I mean, that's the timetable we're dealing with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll bring an ordinance, that's what the council wishes. Sounds good.
Thank you very much for your
Thank
time.
you.
Chili. That's past there, sir. Oh, boy, we're not.
Was that wrong? You think somebody was coming for the?
I do a lot of things.
Oh, was somebody coming for the?
She's
joining us. Okay, perfect.
We have Chelsea Hanson joining us.
I'm Valerie.
Everybody, my name is Chelsea Hanson. I work for the Kansas Forest Service. I wanted to talk to you guys about a program that the extension person for your district, Craig, is very interested in. He reached out to me about wanting to manage and mitigate the invasive species that he sees around his county of Ellsworth. And so we started a project of managing the bush honeysuckle in Chiswick Park. We have talked about doing a calorie pair buyback program. And so today I am here to answer any kind of questions that you guys have about the importance of maybe not going through and absolutely annihilating all the calorie pairs that are within the city of Ellsworth, but hopefully encouraging you guys to cycle them out, like as they need to be removed, maybe not replacing trees with calorie pairs, but choosing something maybe more native, maybe something that provides more ecological benefits, or even just benefits for the city itself.
And the reason I had Chelsea, Craig reached out to me, and of course, relationship with his work relationship with the mayor, and of course, my personal relationship, my family with Craig, I thought we need to have a third party come in, that way it's all open, like we like to do business. The problem we have in the city is about 2 years or 3 years ago, the city planted 8-10 calorie pairs out by the rec center. And I understand talking to Craig that Craig was very disappointed, but, you know, we could pull those trees out with this program, replace them. I mean, they're 2-year-old trees, we're gonna replace with brand new trees, that's maybe a little smaller. I don't know how many we have in our parks, I haven't taken a good inventory of the parks. I think Craig and Chelsea can hear this. A lot of rural areas, especially I know in Johnson County, for example, but I even know the town I came from, the edge of town, their calorie pairs are very invasive and they're taking over pastures and everything else.
Yeah. So, when they're in an urban setting, they're usually, not made, but cultivated, and they're actually, you know, nursery stock. And they're not supposed to breed together when you have, or they're supposed to be sterile when you have one type of calorie pair. But unfortunately, you get Aristocrat or Cleveland or a couple other varieties. And when these trees actually start to breed and spread outside of urban areas, and they're new trees that are being established, they actually produce a lot of thorns. They produce fruit. They produce like all of the things that we had bred out of them to make them city trees. So when they're in pastures, they're even worse than they are in urban settings. Not to say that they're bad in urban settings. They do smell bad, and they are, you know, they're not great is what I'll say. But in urban settings, the only real drawbacks are that they are not very fragrant flowers and they don't produce a lot of fruit. But then when you get them in these rural settings, they do produce fruit and they are covered in thorns, which makes them really hard to remove.
These trees, these calorie pairs, are they, is it apparent what they are versus another breed of pear tree?
Yeah, so they're one of the first ones to start blooming in the spring. They bloom around the same time that red buds do. And they, to me, smell like burning plastic. So it's pretty obvious to find them.
That's horrible.
And basically, you know, Chelsea and all that, you know, we may look at the city program, but again, tell the public that it's available. There's buyback here in May where they'll buy back trees if you replace them this year or took them out last year. You had pictures and stuff like that, and again, it's great people, again, I have no problem with it, I know what calorie pairs are. You know, the problem with trees in a residential area, they are, after 15-20 years, a lot of them they get really weak. And they break, you know, I've had that experience. And yes, I have planted calorie pairs in my life, 2 yards I've had. 3, yeah, so.
Well, I mean, I don't even know how big are the ones we got now, are they even doing much for shade?
No, they're nothing, they're,
Well, then let's just rip them out and put in something different.
and again, we can discuss with staff. I just don't want, I want the public to know that they see us tearing out trees. Someone's going, you're tearing out a tree, because,
Yeah,
but trust me,
but they're giving us another
yeah,
one.
yeah.
We will absolutely. At the end of this, I'm actually at a meeting with our community program and I will put down however many trees you guys want and we will get them and we will have them at the event. So if we wanted to make it an educational event too, we could do a planting, like show people how to properly plant these trees.
So really the only expense to us, is the labor to pull out the old ones.
And to start a new tree over it.
Yeah.
Little water in the summer, you know.
Yeah.
But again, I'll coordinate with her, just work with council, but there's no decision you made or anything. Because we do this, we replace trees on all, I mean, you were asked 2 years ago to replace Skyrim, and North should have even been asked. They put them in there, but, and again, maybe it's working with, but we work with.
Is this program just for the trees the city has?
No, anybody,
You're going after the people's public, the trees in their yard.
if they want to get rid
They
of them,
want to.
If they want to, if they don't want to,
They're
they're
not
not
gonna
gonna be, okay.
no, I think if Craig.
You don't
has-
have to.
If Craig
This
has things,
isn't-
he would take his hacksaw, he would take his
Mm-hmm.
chainsaw and cut every caterpillar out of town. Because he told me he wanted to get rid of our older caterpillars in the park, I'm going like, no way, I'm not gonna tear out of the trees that's growing right now, it's not a problem. I mean,
Yeah.
now these babies out here we have, that actually makes a little sense. All
Well,
right.
and they, like you said, they're not gonna last a storm, they're gonna break all.
Yeah.
I might as well get something that's gonna be
But,
like 50
yeah.
years old or whatever.
But just something.
Yeah, okay.
Any more questions for Chelsea? Chelsea, anything else for us?
Yeah, so I was gonna say we can actually talk about the species that we have available too, if you guys are interested, or if you want to leave that up to Craig and me to figure out. We are doing about 10 species, or, well, no, that would not work. So we've got about 10 species. We're doing Kentucky coffee tree, we've got bur oak, we've got not service berry, but service something crabapple. And then I'm trying to think of the other ones, but I can't off the top of my head. But
I think we have it in our letter from Craig.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think just let them decide.
Yeah.
Sergeant crab apples.
The sergeant crabapples, that's what it was.
What we're gonna do would be, where we have, they want to be ornamental trees. So the bur oak is, no.
When I think we let
Yeah.
city staff decide.
Yeah,
They're the ones.
well, let you know that you're aware, if somebody comes, sees tearing out a tree, they run the way, you're going like, yeah, I don't
I'll
want
say,
that.
talk to Dinkle, he'll explain.
Yeah.
Which one?
Both of them.
Yeah,
In one,
Yeah.
all right.
A great time
thank
to
you,
plug
Chelsea.
Midway Extension District. If you're interested in the program, check out our Facebook page.
Yes.
Thank you, Chelsea.
Thank you.
Great, let's move on to unfinished business. So consider replacement of the drainage structure under Third Street adjacent to Fisker Park.
Madam Mayor, Council, as you know that drainage to the north side of the Prisker Park on First Street failed last fall. I reached out to another firm. We had some talk about it in January. I reached out to, at your request, we reached out to another firm. This firm's estimated price is coming in a lot higher because they have a concern about drainage. And, basically what you have to decide is this, we need to just find an engineering firm and then enter a contract with them. We're gonna have to do some financing on this because we're talking about, somewhere between $300,000 and $600,000. And again, as you know, we want to be careful about the storm drainage because even though there hasn't been a problem there, but and I know this firm is big on storm drainage and they'll solve the problem down the road too. So, just tell me where you want to go if you will, should we get it to get get a contract with this firm then? And they
Can we do another firm?
The whole
Give us
problem,
three?
the only problem is we do that is, first of all, this is the estimate. When
Yeah,
they come in and talk to what the council wants, and you're gonna say, well, we don't wanna worry about that. And they develop their scope of work then. The problem is we do that, we're gonna spread it out, it'll be a year or two before the bridge replaced. That's the only problem with that.
But this is like double. isn't it?
Yeah, because the other one wasn't worried about drain, and I'm not sure they have to be. I mean, that's up to the firm, you know,
I'm a little worried about drainage.
Yeah,
so you may.
been there, done that.
You know, if you wanted me to reach out to this firm or that firm, they can get a, you know, meeting where they come to the meeting and make a presentation. But at that point in time, they'll want an engineering contract and those will end to it. So that's where you start to develop from there.
But these guys kind of specialize in storm drainage and
No,
stuff like
they're an
that.
engineering firm, but I know they worry about storm drainage a lot.
Okay, you've been around them,
I've used them.
you've seen their work.
As I've told you,
Yeah,
I've, you know,
okay.
But then it comes, how are we financing this?
we're gonna have to do some kind of financial issue, I'm not sure what yet. You know, the good part about it is, you know, we had some stuff set up for temp notes for the K-156 project, where our company K-156. And as we told you, you know, we're only gonna pay her one amount and we don't have to finance it and get it all back, you know, so that's changed, but we still have a lot of stuff in place. So we can develop it on out, just a matter of, we gotta get moving, and so. Do you want me to invite this firm or another firm to come to me, make a presentation and enter a contract to do engineering? I don't know where they'll end up. They're gonna, you know, some people may say that's too big of a culprit because they want to upsize it. And again, is that right or wrong or different? I'm not an engineer. You know. So.
On that, I apologize for a little out of turn. It's my first city council meeting. My name's Austin Quilter. I live at the corner of Third and Blake there. I have a little bit of frustration with what's been going on here. As you said last fall, that actually failed. Prior to that, there was a quite large hole dug right at the culvert, and there's been a steel plate there since before I bought my home almost 3 years ago. You know, I am severely frustrated with how long it has taken. My property taxes are through the roof. My home valuation is at $205,000. I have had my home for sale now for almost a year. It was at 235. Was down at 185. I was told that multiple times that when it was down at 185, that we are missing out on offers due to the road construction there. My home is now for sale at 175, and I've been told now we are still missing out on those offers. I like to think I've been very patient. You know, I started with steel plate. Now for lack of a better term, I cannot even get in my driveway unless I go around barricades. It's a little ridiculous that it's taken well over 3 years to even get the steel plate removed. Nonetheless, now the whole road is closed. My wife's family has been in town for generations. I myself am new to town. My wife could not be here tonight. She had some prior obligations. What is the city council doing to remedy this? Because I feel as though now that my home has been for sale for almost a year at $30,000 less than the property valuation by the county and city, there needs to be something done to correct it.
First of all, the city does not value your property. That's done by the county.
Okay,
Also, your property taxes, the city is only a small portion of your property taxes,
I understand that.
only about 40%. So don't always blame the city on those issues because we don't do valuations. And even the counties base them on state statutes they have to follow. So nobody's making it up. They're using standards and.
No, I'm not saying anybody's making it up. What
And
I'm
then
simply
property
saying
taxes, we're just one piece of the property tax pie. You know, Troy tells me that, you know, and I think every year would tell you that repairing the bridge like it is, we just gotta replace the culvert. Now the question is, how do you wanna do it? You've had the two different engineers look at it. You know, I had the one in January and said, let's look for that, and we finally got a bit, an estimate from them, how you approach the project as far as, you know, and again, I understand where one of them doing this, and one of them says, no, we need to worry about drainage, and, you know, that's what you work with the engineer for. When you move forward the project, but, you know, and I'll agree with him to the fact that I know there's stuff around his office that was supposed to be concluded in the project 3, 4, 5 years ago and never happened, and, you know, we can't change that today. I mean,
We just gotta keep.
yeah, we gotta keep moving forward, so it's up to the council. You know, you want the firm to come here, and you do the affirmative, you don't wanna just replace it and have it done, and it has to be a bid out and everything else. Because you also are responsible for taxpayers' dollars that are gonna have to pay that note back. So, I mean, you know, and again, liabilities and all those other issues, so.
Well, and I think as far as the city, like, we're not trying to inconvenience anybody, and especially you guys, because I know that isn't me. We're also trying to do the best job that can be done, to not affect flooding problems at your house and to not affect,
Absolutely,
you
completely
know,
understand.
because we've had issues with flooding and things like that, and so we're trying to do what's the best financially wise for the city, but also is not going to affect your house down the road either with drainage issues and all the things.
It also doesn't affect just myself. I'm sure you guys know that is emergency snow route. You know, God willing, something, or God forbid something happen and somebody needs to get out in a hurry. Now they have to go down Second Street or they have to go all the way back to the center of town and loop around, you know. That's bad news. What if an ambulance needs to get to my house to move my wife or to our neighbors behind us and they're unable to because it's blocked in with snow and the road, the only snow route in town is closed. The only snow route to that area of town is completely blocked off. It's not just myself that I'm looking out for.
No, and I think we all understand your frustration, because I think we've all driven up there and then went, oh crap, the road's closed, shoot, we forgot. So, but I just think that understand too, that we're trying to do the best job possible, so it doesn't end up affecting you in a disastrous way down the road.
Alright, well,
And snow routes, just remember, snow routes are those that we address right away. But we addressed the other ones as we went along this year. You know, we didn't have a real big snow, we had them where we declared snow routes on one day. And put in place, I do a little park there, and that's all snow routes does it gets, so we can get through there. And we can do fines if somebody parks their car there. And in the past, they've never declared, we want to declare it this year, saying, hey, there's a snow route in place. You know, and then we put all the stuff out, and we had all the communication, and it went great, you know. But, you know. I think Troy's Crew addresses all the problem with their snow and everything else, you know.
We're right, what's the next?
You want me to bring a firm in here to start getting the contract?
Yeah, we need to do that.
Which firm are you gonna work with? I mean, you see the two differences, there's maybe somebody else in between too, and we can hunt all week, you can hunt all year long with different firms.
Yeah, we need to
You know, I can, you
get
know,
her.
what's your pleasure?
Well, I like these guys.
I can have this.
The other one, nah, I'm not voting for them.
Was everybody,
No way in hell.
was it Kirk and Michael? Kirk and Michael.
Yeah.
That's up to you guys, I'm not familiar with the other one. Do what
I
you-
mean, I guess the fact that they are super concerned about the drainage issues. I would
I can
say,
reach out to Justin and see if he can come to this meeting.
And then if you could tell us too, like, what does the financing look like? Cause I think those are questions
Yeah.
we're
Well,
gonna get.
it'll be temp notes, we'll do temp notes on it. How we spread it out and everything else. The other question would be is, and again, I don't wanna leave from drainage here, but we do temp notes. Do we include other project temp notes like wall, fill, ice and everything else? And that's for that discussion then. But you need to get started a little bit.
Yeah, let's keep
Yeah.
going.
Do we need a motion to table it until the next meeting, or can we
Yeah.
just keep it under a new
I
unfinished
guess
business?
it's just-
All right. Sewer rates.
Mayor, council members, see my attached paper there. Basically, the 20% increase we mentioned last time. Part of it would like to see it change how we do the minimum charge on the larger, because water meters have nothing to do with it, but if we do that, however, replace that loss of revenue difference. So you need to make that 25, maybe 25, 30%. So, you know. Nobody's gonna like sewer rates going up, but you know, to create the amount of revenue you're gonna have to make an improvement, it has to happen.
Yeah.
And, you know, you just take the $5 million or $8 million you borrow. Annual payments of $500,000 a year, take $500,000 divided by 12, you get $38,000. Divided by 1,100 customers, it's about $35 a month. I mean, there is no magic. Now, granted, there's some smaller and some bigger and stuff like that, but that's the average for all the meters, so. Unfortunately, it has to happen. We're not the only, even though we're gonna be told we're the only city in the state of Kansas trust me.
Yeah, so what do, I mean, is that, we all good with that? Yeah, what he's got here?
I'll be the ordinance in place for the next meeting, if we said all along.
It's a public hearing, is that right?
There won't be a public hearing.
There won't be, okay.
It'll just be an ordinance at the next meeting, and I'll see the last year, put members in. Yeah.
Okay.
New business, rezoning request for 911 Evans Street. Oh.
All right, this is, we run through the planning commission. They approved, sending on to you. What happened is Kansas Granite moved from out in the county, moved into town before they realized that that wasn't zoned right. And all we're doing is fixing the zoning for it, because it needs to be light industrial, for that particular industry.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Madam Mayor, I move to adopt ordinance number 3182. To rezone the property with a common address of 911 Evans Street from CS Highway Service District to IL Light Industrial District.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Renard, seconded by Council President Hanson to adopt ordinance number 3182 to rezone the property with a common address of 911 Evans Street from CS Highway Service District to IL Light Industrial District. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passed. All right, thank you. Okay, so the notice of public hearing. Wait, no, I skipped it. No, right, notice of public hearing? No, that's all together.
That was
All
part of
one
the
thing,
planning
okay.
commission.
Yeah.
All right, adding churches to I-1 special use permits.
Okay, in the same neighborhood, the Baptist church up there wants to either add on or tear that one down and start over. Well, at some point, that church was allowed up there in industrial, which does not list church as a use up there. So to get around it, Alan and our city attorney decided that, going with the special use permit, adding the churches to the special use permit would be the best way to go. Then they can just apply for a special use permit. And if the planning commission okays it, then
Board of zoning appeals.
Board of Zoning Appeals approves it. Then they can go ahead and do what they need to do.
Basically, we felt that. You know, we'll put it as a conditional use under I-1s. And the conditional use still requires notification, so. They would ask for a special use permit, they would go, they'd pay their fee, we do all the notification. All the neighbor within 200 feet would get notified, there'd be a public hearing, people could speak, you know, that's what that does, so it puts it in place, you know. We probably felt that this was probably the most proper way to do this, and it's not gonna happen very often. But that way you cover it.
Don't you need a motion on that?
Sure do.
Think we need to.
Put on glasses.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm at that age now, I need to see. Madam Mayor, I move to adopt ordinance number 3183 that churches authorized uses of the special use permit in the I-1 light industrial district.
I'll second.
Been moved by Councilmember Allen, second by Council President Hanson to adopt ordinance number 3183 to add churches under the authorized uses in the special use permits in the I-1 light industrial district. Any discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Thank you, Dolvin.
Well,
Okay, discussion of zoning regulations in non-conforming lots.
Madam Chair, last meeting, just asked you to do a little paper on it, and I told you a nice little paper. Look at your current ordinances, basically in R1 districts, R2s. R1 is required to have a lot size of 6,000 square foot. A high percent of our lots in this town are that. However, Because when I looked at the plats, I mean, the original plat lot for 6,500 square foot, lots are straight. You know, the problem is nowadays, of course, you have to build, if you took that house out, you have to build a house like, it looked like, couldn't get any much bigger, you couldn't get bigger, of course, you'd have to change size, you have setbacks and everything else. We have a few lots in the town, I mean, I built one on 4th Street a couple weeks ago where at one time there was a church and a house, they separated them. Well, the problem is the property line for the house that's west of the church is about. And it was not a plat lot, they put it there, my cell that was here, church was here, someone wanted to buy the church, they wanted to put a building on there, and it's like. He says, well, it should be a foot from the property, why can't I? Well, they could apply for a variance, it probably wouldn't be granted, because in my mind, it wouldn't fit any of the building rules or anything like that, because it's not. But the point is, if you wanna have one, and I noticed lots in this town, and there's another one in their street. Where there's 2 lots, the guy can put back 1 house where there's 2 lots, because together, the 2 lots are only 7,500 square foot, give or take. You allow them to come back, but if you do, how do you write an ordinance that again is gonna be applicable across the whole town? And how do you put these in place? You know, some cities would require these lots to be platted now. We don't do that here, and when I first did that in town, when last time I was in, I thought it was a horrible idea when I got there, when I left, it was like the most wonderful idea. Once you get used to it, it becomes a problem, but it's how do you address it, how do you want to address it? If you want to make changes, of course, it has to go through the planning commission, has to go public hearing and everything else. But again, it's one of those, you need to write a law that would be applicable across town. Because in zoning, we don't, we call them, unless we want to create new districts, and that's always a third possibility, is to create another R district. But then again, we battled with the R, with the issue out here, put an R2 where R2 existed was. We spent 4 meetings talking about that. In an R1 area, you have people complain, so, where do you want to be with that? And I won't be around for this to handle this, but I always go against ordinances that say, well, if the neighbors all give you a paper of grease, do it. Those are dumb in my mind, because they may do it and, because the properties do sell down the road. And so be careful when he puts it in place that, yeah, I signed it, but, I think you gotta be careful about those, real careful about those,
I think our concern is that there are some, like you said, there's some.
Yeah.
Some properties that are too small, they don't meet the ordinance. And there could be a house on that property, it's been there for 80 years, 3rd generation. It burns down, they can't rebuild. Because the way the ordinance is written.
unless they bought us Jason Block. That's it.
Right, but
If there is
if
none.
there's housing, I mean, and so now it's so the city's lost revenue because of property value.
I get that.
And I don't understand why we can't have someone that says you can go back to the same footprint, same square footage. I mean, well, that just makes sense to me. That's just common sense.
I would think you want to be careful in writing something, though. You have to put something in there that says that I cannot change the line.
And that's
I
what,
have a
yeah,
large property
yeah.
and had addressed this. Again,
I'm not
as an
asking,
exception there, maybe it's a possibility.
yeah, I'm not saying they should get bigger or change the shape, but they should at least be able to do the same footprint, same square footage.
Yeah,
The same house should be able to be put back in place.
or even a little small.
Yeah, I mean, that's just common sense. But
What's our minimum house size here
600 square feet.
for a house?
that's a tiny house. I mean,
Yeah, it is a house, yeah.
I mean, it's just,
I mean, we don't have the tiny house that are like in some parts of the United States.
you're right, but it's just,
But maybe you could.
yeah, and I
Most folks are in the areas where tiny houses are here. Again, I think you have to, what do you,
I just, that example, I mean.
the kids can put us, what can I help, Yeah.
But you should be grandfathered in if there was a house.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but it's non-conforming uses go away when it's destroyed. And of course, you'll know my experience with tornado. Those non-conforming happened that night and nobody wanted to come. I mean, they all wanted, I had a guy in my office, I can't build back my 50-foot lot. I said, yeah, you can. But you can't build a house that's different than what you have now. Well, I don't want that. I want a bigger house. It don't fit.
And I get that part, but what I'm saying is right now, they can't even put the house up as there.
Yeah.
right?
I mean, I think we can play with finding a language on, I don't, again, you need to have a language that's enforceable.
Right.
And understandable. I think those are the two things you have to be careful of here. You know. I wish we had more lots of, I mean, what has happened over the years is lots were combined or they cut it in half. I had the same problem when I was in Houston because we'd have 300-foot lots. And we had 6 houses across the front, all 50-foot lots, and then the 2 on the ends. On the 2 streets would have one between them and the alley, and so those were both, all 4 of those houses on the ends were non-conforming. That all went away because most of the town,
We're creating a issue by when we lose a house or it's tore down because it's old,
Yeah.
whatever. And because of the way the ordinance is on now, it forces, then people can't rebuild a house as it was in that spot, like he's talking about, same footprint. Then it either turns into a lot that then we have to chase people to get it, take care of it, or somebody wants to throw a shed up on it. And now we got neighborhoods with these sheds coming up.
which were never allowed by your code.
And
They never
we
were allowed by your
we
code.
don't want that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we don't
You
want that.
violated your code for years doing that.
So, well, that's
Yeah.
true. And so we're, now that we're aware of that part, but we would be getting at least some money out of that situation if we had houses on there.
But then what do you do with the lot, we know that one I want to up here, and there's two smaller lots. But it's now same ownership. So should it only be, should you allow the 2 houses back there, or should it be only built
You
one
talking
on
about
7,000 square foot?
You're talking about Palm
Yeah.
Springs?
Yeah, but, okay, so.
That's a classic example, I don't wanna pick anybody.
So they can't put 2 houses.
But they, not according to your code now,
Right,
but they can put one.
but what if he changes his mind and decides to sell those 2 lots and he finds 2 separate buyers? What are those 2 people gonna, they can't build a house now, because they only bought one of the
They have to buy
lots.
both, yeah.
Right, but what if somebody doesn't wanna buy a lot, somebody works in our local community, they wanna move here,
But you
and they
gotta
find
make
this perfect little
And I
small
have no problem with
lot.
that. You gotta make sure then that somebody else does not sell off of their lot in another part of town. I mean, I think we gotta be careful in our language that it's enforceable. Because what happens if I have a big lot and I live over here? And let's don't worry about covenants here at all, and I'm saying. Okay, if they can do that, I'm gonna sell 4,000 square foot here and we build a little house here.
Okay,
That's how we have to be careful on how we write this.
and I understand what you're saying, but
But
I think
it's-
that's a little bit different, because you're talking about somebody taking a large lot and then parceling it, and I'm saying, this is already 2 lots. Right, it's 2 separate lots, he bought 2 separate lots, and if he sells them again, it's 2 separate lots.
So do we push
That's
to?
not parceling.
Do we push to, where a house existed the last 5 years, 10 years, 1 year? I mean, that's maybe the question. But you know, I'll take that one, like, I mentioned on 4th Street, if that house goes away, I don't know how you get a house back in there, because it was, you know, but that was a split that they made. I was in the city, but now you got a house there,
Is it 4th or 4th?
4th. 4th, the church on the corner, and then you have the house behind it.
The
Oh,
one you were talking about earlier,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go with that, I don't know.
Yeah.
going by the quick shop, on the Brooklyn by the quick shop on the corner, and
Yeah.
then behind to the west, there's a house that was.
And it's like a foot from the property line, because they made it that way, or
Yeah.
2 foot, I mean, it's not very far. And I think we can you can put some things, again, I want you to think about how you're gonna enforce these. Is it when there was 2 houses on there now, or within the last 5 years? Or can I go back and say, 15 years ago, there was 2 houses, I went with 2 back? And the lots are smaller size, when do you make that move across the line? And they're making now lots. Cause you got tons of lots over here that if we ever get in there, you know, and do a real demo program, I get some money and I get all that, so. I really do, is how do we do that and clean up areas over in here too as well? It's gonna flip that issues too.
I mean, can you write an ordinance that says that the house has to be, there now, right? I mean, you can't go in the past and say the house was there. You can't, you're like, if those 2 houses on Gray you're talking about now, or the one over on Gay Street that fire, you know, there's a house there now. It may be, I'm just using it as an example, let's say it was less than 6,000, I mean, there's a house there now. I don't, I don't know, I'm not.
Yeah.
I understand your question,
How
your
do you,
concerns.
how do you, I mean, write out ordinance that staff can enforce.
Right, absolutely. I understand what you're saying. I'm not an expert. You are.
And you don't wanna get in a position where we start making exceptions, because, I mean, it's the same like we did with the chickens before, you start doing that, where do you quit?
And
And I always insist council us to follow their rules, because, oh, we're gonna wait for this time. Oh my God, yeah, you're not, you as people are not any better than citizens of town. You have the ability to go change, of course, the zoning change will have to go through a lot of process, I mean, because we'll have to send it to the planning commission, that have the hearings. But I think before you do that, we need to settle some language that does workable. And it's tough, you know, the house, the house has been the last 5 years, 2 years, but again, you limit to such that they still have to keep their side yard setbacks.
right, absolutely. That's what I'm
And,
getting.
and like
Same
I'm
footprint.
hearing, a 1 foot side yard setback. Because when that was built, it was totally legal. It was
Right.
two structures on, is, the way it was built. And again, if they had split the lots this way, they split them crosswise,
And I understand what you're saying is if that house comes down, that's an opportunity for you to correct that, right? It's an opportunity to enforce and do that,
Yeah.
right? But I mean, I think we're missing that because I know the individual that has the 2 lots on Grand wants to tear down the 2,
Yeah.
put 2 new ones in and rent them out. And
I get
just a couple months ago, we're talking about lack of rental properties.
But-
We're missing out on opportunities here.
But be careful, because, we spent 4 meetings worried about duplexes in a part of town that had them already. So remember the other neighbors and everything else, I think that's what you gotta be cognizant of, I think,
But I mean, I get that, but we're
yeah,
tearing down a house and replacing it with the same structure. It's just new.
yeah.
I mean,
The 6,000 square foot minimum lot size is probably as standard as anything in the state, or bigger.
and I don't, especially new construction, I understand that, right? We want lots to be bigger, we get that. I just did old towns like this,
Right.
and this part of the state have some small lots, and we're just. We're,
Except you can make the argument, the one in Grand Street is, Grand, sorry. You make the argument is, now that, trying to, correct.
I get that, but how often is that gonna happen? We don't, I've lived in
And the point
Kansas.
is, there's not that many lots in town that are under 60,000 square foot.
But the
There's not
two that are there, the chances of
Yeah.
you getting that happen again, where 2 lots next to each other,
Exactly.
slim to none. And,
Yeah.
and I've lived in Kansas for 51 years, and I can only think of 2 towns where you get to start over because a tornado wiped out your town, right? It doesn't happen very often, so we can't, and I don't wish that on any town, so let's not, right? So, I think we are losing some opportunities for our town when we.
And I can continue to work on this, and think my ideas, but again, it's how enforceable can you make it, You put it that if there's 2 houses existed presently,
Presently, you can put 2 back.
let me play this language,
Okay.
we can discuss next week.
Yeah, again, you're the expert, so.
But we're still not thinking like if you tear one down, you can't build a shop unless your house is connected to that lot. But we're still going.
That's what your ordinance says.
Yeah, I know, but we're not delving into that really.
Yeah,
We're not.
sounds like.
I'll bring more back.
Right, let's move on to department heads. Delvin,
I don't have anything else.
Mr. Murphy.
Yeah, we got our. Cricket Saturday Academy graduates this Friday, so we start at Taylor on Sunday. We'll take the Explorer to Nightingale tomorrow. That's about it. Thanks.
Thank you. How about, Mr. Buckles?
No,
Mr. Casper?
nothing, Madam Mayor.
Mrs. Blandy?
Of course, Madam Mayor, thank you. I have 2 things, of course, I've been following the property tax state, the governor today did veto. House Bill 2043, which put the 3% and all of those laws in place. And of course, it's gonna become very political, and of course, too late to overturn a veto. And everybody's blaming everybody else, and there's Republicans blaming Republicans, and that was good stuff, that's up to them. Bottom line is property taxes are a big thing, but everybody writes and forgets is that, you know, the state legislature was deciding on a tax they don't have for the most part. You know, because they've gotten rid of the mills or mill and a half they were levying on, you know, the 20 mills for school districts. The school district here levies 20 mills here, but it goes to the state first, it comes back in the formulas. But they didn't want to touch those, of course, they just wanted to touch the cities and the counties. And again, I still believe property tax, you know, this is the same county raise their property tax, the rest will show up to meetings and talk to the city about what it wants. And I have as you know, I do on this Washington side, the guy I work with says, property taxes are too high. I says, what do you want to cut? I'm not cutting anything, Alan. Property taxes are too high. So I think it's a discussion that needs to be happening on a local level. That's not a problem, because you gotta realize that even though we're not school, I was against the school cell phone bill because I believe that was something that the locals should take care of, not the state of Kansas. I mean, I'm a local control, believe it or not. I do have a meeting on Wednesday night with townships, and by the 6 townships, part of 2 contracts, eligible to 1 and the other 5. I've had 2 come in and talk to me. Of course, they said, well, we don't want to raise our taxes for a fire, we want the city to keep raising taxes, basically, what it boils down to. I put a lot of data together for them. You gotta realize there's a couple of fire districts in this county that receive services outside of the county. The ones on the edge over, especially that edge over there. And when I look what the levies are over there, you know, as I told them all, I says, the contract that was put in place 40 years ago was a fair I can't even, I mean, they were doing, you know, I mean, even the Ellsworth one anticipated up to 5 mills, now they're down below a mill. And meanwhile, the city shut up to 8 mills for fire, basically. And we need more fire. I mean, I'm not arguing before, but we need budget because we just talked about replacement bunker gear and everything else, and it's just one of those things. And one says, well, why are you doing it now? Why did you wait 40 years? And I go, can't fix that, you know? And so, we'll work through the process and I'll have a report next meeting.
All right.
That's all I got.
Councilmember Renard,
I don't have anything.
Council President Hanson.
I just had a question, I think this is probably a short question, but I had somebody approach me, on the north side of the street, across from the grade school. There's an alley and some people, their driveways come out of that, like their driveways are behind their houses, come out of the alley. There's no, like. So when they're coming out of the alley, there's cars parked on up to like right at the edge of the alley, and then you get people dropping kids off at school. And it's kind of hazardous, like trying to pull out of the alley into the street. And she was just curious if they could maybe there's a way they could paint back a little bit from the alley, so parking's not right up to the edge of the alley.
Chief, do you have any idea what to do? What do you want the
Do
chief
you
to look at?
understand? Yeah, do you know what I'm talking about? Like right across from the grade school, Chad, there's that alley, and there's people that their driveways are behind their houses, so they come out of the alley. She just said there's been several times when she's about got hit because she can't see, because cars are parked right up on either side, like right to the edge of either side of the alley, you know, the curb goes right there.
Right.
But she just didn't know if there was a way to just set back a little bit so people aren't right up against the alley, so you can have a little bit better view of people coming up and down.
I'll give it to Troy, but I think there is an STO, how close you can park to.
Okay,
Public interest to.
Report back next meeting, please.
yeah, if you could just get a look at that, thank you, that's all I got.
Okay, Councilmember Bishop. Councilmember Moon.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Dingle, the status of the crosswalk?
The application is going in sometime here in May when it's due. Because we made that first round, as I said to you, and then all suggestions and call values will go in. And hopefully we'll make it through that bound grant funding.
Councilmember Allen. Okay, and I just have a couple of things. So I want to give a kudos and a shout out to the Ellsworth Police Department. I heard a lot of really good feedback during after prom a couple weekends ago. They really appreciated the presence that Chief Murphy and his officer provided. And also, I feel like the working relationship between the PD and the sheriff's office greatly improved. So thank you for all you're doing to make that relationship great and also just provide your service to the community. I'm still working on some of my mayoral appointments, which we will talk about at the next meeting. So if anyone is interested in being on the Tourism and Convention Committee, I have potentially one spot open, so email me and I'll tell you more. And that's it. So then we have executive session and we're gonna change something up. That first one, we're gonna change from 15 to 20 minutes, please.
And then the second one from 10 to 5.
Remember, let's make that.
Yeah.
Madam Mayor, I move to go into executive session for consultation with an attorney regarding an attorney-client privilege due to settlement negotiations or potential litigation pursuant to KSA 75-4319, and to include the mayor, city council, city attorney, and interim city administrator for 20 minutes, beginning at, we'll say, 6:36 and ending at 6:56.
I'll second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Allen, seconded by Council President Hanson to adjourn into executive session for consultation with an attorney regarding an attorney-client privilege due to settlement negotiations for potential litigation for 20 minutes, beginning at 6:36 and ending at 6:56. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign.
Madam Mayor, I move the city council return from executive session where no decisions were made or no action was taken.
I'll second that.
It's been moved by Council President Hanson, seconded by Councilmember Renard to return from executive session where no decisions were made and no action was taken. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
People go see us now too, right?
Motion passed. Okay, let's have another executive session. Somebody want to make that motion for 5 minutes this time?
Yeah. Madam Mayor, I move to go into executive session for preliminary discussion of the acquisition of real property relating to sewer improvements project pursuant to KSA 75-4319, and to include the mayor, city council, city attorney, and interim city administrator for 5 minutes, beginning at 6:58 and going to 7:03 and ending at 7:03.
I'll second that.
It's been moved by Councilmember Allen, seconded by Councilmember Renard to adjourn into executive session for preliminary discussion of the acquisition of real property relating to the sewer improvements project. For 5 minutes, beginning at 6:58 and ending at 7:03. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Okay, we got their mic on? Wait, you have your mic on?
Maybe. Maybe not. Oh, there we go. Madam Mayor, I move the city council return from executive session where no decisions were made or no action was taken.
Second.
It's been moved by Council President Hanson, seconded by Councilmember Moon to return from executive session where no decisions were made or no action was taken. Okay, well, I think that's all we have for tonight, so I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
Madam Mayor, make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second.
Been moved by Councilmember Moon, seconded by Councilmember Allen to adjourn tonight's meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign, motion passed. Meeting, adjourned. Did I miss? Both times it was Darcy. Oh,